What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. We're gonna do a little Lakers talk. Got a couple topics that I want to get into on this Memorial Day weekend. I'm already starting to get the itch. It's been let's see, the last broadcast was on Monday. I did Lakers talk on Wednesday, and now I'm just kind of sitting around and saying, "All right, well, when are we going to start talking some Lakers basketball again?" You see how quick we get back into it. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. First time you're part of the channel, putting up Lakers content on a continuous basis. We'll continue to do so in the offseason. And here is what I want to ask Laker fans is run it back or make some big changes. That's going to be part of our conversation. Dave McMenamin had a really good article. I think it was yesterday that it came out. Might have been the day before. It was yesterday. That kind of had some options there for the Lakers, but I got some of my own thoughts, my own theories, so I'll throw them out to you guys. And as always, would love to have you guys comment below. Again, please subscribe to the channel. It's my own personal channel, Lakers Talk. Had this channel now for 5-6 years, something along those lines, and always love talking Lakers basketball on it. What do the Lakers do next? So let me throw out a couple options here, and then we could pick and choose which one we think is in the best interest of the Lakers. I will say this. Brian Windhorst, who came on my Lakers talk show, I put it up on YouTube on, I think it was Wednesday night. He was very optimistic about the position that the Lakers are in. And if you guys know Brian Windhorst, or if you listened to Brian Windhorst before, he's not typically the most optimistic when it comes to the Lakers and their plan, but he's one of my favorite guys to have on any of my radio shows that I do. And I just love his bluntness. And it doesn't mean he's always right, but you should have heard him. We were just talking about it was a terrific Lakers season. They got a lot of options in the offseason. They shouldn't panic. So I think listening to him with all his reasons of why the Lakers are in a good position going into the offseason, I think that puts it in perspective of the Lakers got a lot of options in front of them. So let me throw one option to Laker fans. Run it back. Go sign Austin Reeves and match any offer that comes out. Go make sure that you sign Rui Hachimura. Bring back Jared Vanderbilt, who's already under contract. That player option that Malik Beasley has, which is $16 million, bring him back as well. And D'Angelo Russell, sign him to a deal. Obviously come up with a deal that makes sense. We saw part of the article that Dave McMenamin had yesterday was as far as the money goes for D'Angelo Russell, they got to find a dollar amount that makes sense. He had in his article between $18 and $23 million is kind of the range that the Lakers would probably be looking for as far as what D'Lo's looking for. D'Lo's going to try to get, the max that he can get, and I don't think the Lakers are going to pay him. I think it's over 30 a year or something like that. Or maybe sign a longer-term deal, like a 4-year deal, and try to get $100 million. That's what he was hoping to get when he was still in Minnesota. I got a lot to get into on D'Angelo in general, but the concept of just running it back. Let me give you guys some of the advantages if the Lakers do run it back. This team played really well together. They were 18-8 since the trade deadline to kind of close out the season. Each one of these guys had moments. Rui obviously had his moments. I don't really need to talk too much about him. You could tell what a nice player that he is. Vanderbilt had his moments, whether it was in the Memphis series where he was trying to guard Ja Morant or in the series against the Golden State Warriors where his size did help. D'Angelo Russell, as frustrated as I was with D'Lo had moments himself. Nothing consistent, but he had moments where he was a threat to go off in any game. Malik Beasley, I think if you brought this team back together and they get a training camp together, they get an offseason together, they get 82 regular season games together, I think Beasley will figure it out and he'll get back to the shooter that he has been in his career. There is a theory out there, which I don't think is the worst theory in the world, is bring everybody back and let this thing marinate for a second, and let's see if these individual players get better, that the chemistry is better, that the continuity is better. There is a theory out there that says if you get a training camp and a regular season, you're going to have a much better record. You're not going to have to work as hard as you did at the end of the season just to get in the play-in tournament. There is a scenario out there that would say, hey, if you run this thing back, there are a lot of positives to that. There are a lot of options on that. That's one way that's one route that the Lakers can take. I guess the question I have, Laker fans, is if they did that, do they have enough talent to win the whole thing? Because I think everyone would agree with this. Even if the Lakers caught a lot of teams by surprise, even if the trade deadline was really successful for the Lakers, getting to the Western Conference Finals this year might have been a surprise, might have been like, wow, that was great. This is awesome. We got a lot to build for. But if you run it back next year, it's not about making the playoffs. It's not about getting to the Western Conference Finals. It's about winning the whole thing. I got a theory on LeBron, which I'll get into a second. This could very well be the final run with LeBron James wearing the purple and gold. I'd actually be surprised if it's anything other than that. So that's something to keep in mind. So the question is, do they have enough talent to win it all if they bring everybody back? My initial thoughts would tell you this. I don't think they do. I think you also got to understand this, that teams in the offseason are going to get better. I think the Phoenix Suns are really going to find a way to support Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and get the proper role players to get better. I think the Golden State Warriors are not just going to sit around. They're probably going to use some of that young talent to go get some veterans and get better. Denver is only going to get better, and their confidence is only going to grow. This is the first time that franchise has ever been to the NBA Finals. There's some other teams out there that I think will get better. If the Clippers are healthy, I know it's a big if. I know it's like, we're going to really talk about the Clippers again. If they're healthy, that squad is loaded. We just don't know if they're going to be healthy or not. But health is a big part to do with having success or not having success in the NBA. Those are just a few teams that I named off. Memphis is going to try to get healthy as well. I know the John Morant situation. The Pelicans, will Zion be healthy? There's going to still be a lot of teams in the Western Conference that will be fighting, and Oklahoma City will get better as their young guys continue to figure it out. I guess Chet Holmgren will come back. I don't know what Wembanyama is going to be, but San Antonio will be better. Houston has a much better coach than they've had in the past. So the risk with standing pat and hoping for all these other guys to get better is, the rest of the league is going to get better as well. So I don't think they have enough talent to win it all. Now, what you could do, one of the options is you bring everybody back, you re-sign D'Angelo Russell, you keep all these guys under contract, and then you start the season. And by the time you get to December or you get to January, now you're really looking to see what opportunities are out there. Do you go out there and try to make a deal? Do you go out there and try to improve your point guard position? Do you go out there and try to get some vets? At least you have a ton of flexibility because, first off, you don't have, one aging superstar in Russell Westbrook due $47 million, and you got to give up all this draft compensation just to get him off your books or just to get him off your team. They would have a ton of options. So that's the thing I like most about that option. I think it gives the Lakers a ton of flexibility, and I think, obviously they're going to have opportunities to figure stuff out. They don't have to figure it out right away. They could figure it out as they get closer to the trade deadline. Okay, that's option number one. Run it back. Option number two, go get another big-time player. Now, it gets a little, I don't know if complicated is the right way to put it, but there's a little dancing and maneuvering that you have to do to go get another big-time player. I'll give you an example of what that is. Kyrie was sitting courtside in that game that the Lakers got swept, and D'Angelo Russell was sitting on the bench for most of that game because he just was a non-factor. You try to go after Kyrie. I want to explain something out there to Laker fans so you understand. To go get Kyrie or to go get Fred VanVleet, to go get some of these players, it's not as easy as, Kyrie's a free agent. He could just come to the Lakers. That is correct. But Kyrie's also trying to get paid, and he's also trying to get multiple years. So the Dallas Mavericks, which I would not be surprised, offer Kyrie a multi-year deal. They're paying him good money, and they're saying to themselves, look, we traded from last year. Let's just try to build around Kyrie and Luka, and let's go try to get a better supporting cast, and let's go try to find better defenders so they can help that backcourt. Doesn't play any defense at all. Um, they could very well, Kyrie could very well go back there because just from a financial perspective, it makes a lot of sense. If Kyrie's going to come to the Lakers, Kyrie, A, has to take less money, and he also, I'm sure the Lakers don't want to do a long-term deal with him. But they're not going to try to give him 4 years. It's not going to happen. Maybe it will happen, but I think that's a huge risk that the Lakers would be taking. I think you're just trying to time Kyrie with LeBron. What's LeBron's timetable left with the Lakers? That's the timetable you're trying to time Kyrie when it comes to that. So I look at the Kyrie situation. Kyrie can work with the Lakers, and you could still potentially keep Austin Reeves and keep Rui Hachimura, but he's got to come take less money, and he also has to do some type of a short-term deal. I guess the question is how much does Kyrie want to be a Laker? Is he willing to come for $30 million on a whatever 1 or 2 year deal, a team option in the second year? Probably not. If another team's going to offer him $100 million, but could he also say, you know what, I just want to go be in LA. I want a chance to win a championship. I want to play with Bron. I'll be there 1 year. I got a long-term deal coming after that if I could prove what my worth is. That sounds like a lot you're sacrificing in order to play for the Lakers for 1 year. All right. The other player out there that I think would be a great fit for the Lakers. It's just how you're going to get him. Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors. He has a player option this upcoming season, and then he's an unrestricted free agent after that. So can you put something together for the Toronto Raptors where the Raptors say, okay, hey, this is interesting? Here's my question with Toronto. I don't know if they're going to rebuild, or I don't know if they're going to try to compete. And I think what happens to Fred VanVleet will tell you a lot. Do they want some draft picks from the Lakers? Are they willing to take a D'Angelo Russell? Like, I don't know what they want. So I think that's going to be the question. But I do actually really, really feel that the Lakers, I think they're going to try to go all in. I'll give you a couple reasons why I think they're going to try to go all in. I think this is it for LeBron and the Lakers. When you really, really think about it, this is going to be the 6th season with LeBron playing for the Lakers. You just got through 5 of them, right? Didn't make the playoffs in the first year. Second year, the Lakers win the championship in the Orlando bubble. Third year, Lakers lose in the first round of the Phoenix Suns. Fourth year, Lakers don't make the playoffs. Fifth year, they get to the Western Conference Finals. This is his 6th year with the Lakers. That's longer, by the way, than Miami. Miami was just 4 years there. So the fact that he will be in his 6th season, that next year he is on the books, but it's a player option, that he's talked about it publicly all the time that he wants to play with Bronny, and the question is going to be, if Bronny will be on an NBA team next year. And I have no idea Bronny's talent. For all I know, maybe Bronny stays at USC for 2 years. I don't know. But I'm assuming that this will be Bron's last year with the Los Angeles Lakers for all the reasons that I laid out. And if there's one thing that LeBron said in his exit interview, has said every year, I ain't trying to get to the Western Conference Finals. I want to win the whole thing. And the Lakers finally have a team, too, that it seems like, okay, hey, there's some pieces here. Reeves is a nice piece. Rui is a nice piece. Obviously, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Clearly, the Lakers need another player that can be a playmaker, a scorer on a consistent basis, probably more of a vet. That's why I like Fred VanVleet. I think the Lakers will try to go all in again. And that doesn't mean you get rid of a lot of the players that you have. It just means the draft compensation that they have. The article breaks down some of the draft compensation the Lakers do have. They got some good stuff here. They got their number 17 pick. They got their number 47 pick this year. They got their first rounder 2029, first rounder 2020-30. So I would not be shocked at all if the Lakers are trying to make some maneuvers here this offseason to go all in, add another big time player, maybe get a couple veterans as well, and see if whatever they didn't have against the Denver Nuggets, they clean up. And now all of a sudden, you're walking into preseason next year with a legitimate chance. I'm going to go back to this too, something that I said earlier. I don't think they have to panic. I don't think they have to do everything before the season starts. I think it's okay if they did come back with the same team with the idea of, yeah, but we're going to make changes as we go here as needed and try to improve the roster before we get to the trade deadline. If they run it back, I don't think they have enough talent to win an NBA championship. Even with the way they played and the way they started and the continuity and everything else, I think they need more talent. Braun will be in his 21st year. Anthony Davis, I think it's safe to say, you could depend on him on the defensive side. I'm not 100% sure what he's going to give you on the offensive end every night. And to have some type of a guard that could take a lot of stress off LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think is big time. D'Lo, just to play off of D'Lo real quick, he's just not going to be that consistent player. He's not. And frankly, I hate to be this blunt. I don't think he's a winning player. I just don't. There's a reason why he's bounced around as much as he has in the league. And I think there are times in the regular season he can win you some games, but I would not depend on him in the postseason. I just wouldn't. I would use him. I'd use some of those draft picks. You need a winner. That's the way I kind of look at D'Angelo Russell, to be blunt about it. So I think this is kind of the route, Laker fans. And this is why I wanted to do this video, because the question is as simple as run it back or make some big changes or make some, I don't know how significant they need to be. LeBron and AD aren't going anywhere. I think Austin Reeves are going to match any offer. I think they're going to really try to bring Rui Hachimura back. But what do you do with the rest of that roster is going to be the question. How much draft compensation are you willing to say, let's let this go because we're going to bring in a player that's going to help us compete for an NBA championship? I think the Lakers are going to be all in on that. I really do believe that. Okay, couple other things here that I'll throw out there, and then we'll all go enjoy the rest of our Memorial Day weekend. Miami and Boston tonight. I think Miami closes out the series later tonight. So just my quick NBA playoffs. Miami and Denver is who I think is going to be in the NBA Finals. Now, all the momentum is with Boston. Now there's a little bit of pressure on the Miami Heat to make sure they close it out. But one thing I took away from Jimmy Butler on Thursday in his post-game interview against Boston, basically saying we're going to win Game 6. I believe him. He looked incredibly confident. He looked directly I thought he was looking into my soul, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I guess they are going to win. Listen, I think what Miami has done up to this point has been so impressive. I think Boston coming back and winning the next 2 games, very impressive. But I think ultimately at the end of the day, Miami does have a fight in them. And I like what Jimmy Butler was saying, that the way they played those last 2 games was not Miami Heat basketball. And for those reasons, I'm going to lean a little bit, I guess you could say, on Jimmy Butler and that leader to say he's going to bring it home. See what happens. But I would much rather see Miami in the finals, of course, than I would like to see the Boston Celtics. Okay, the last thing that I want to get into, because I think it's I think it's an interesting story. The general manager of the Clippers is going to the Washington Wizards. So he's going to go become, sounds like, the president there, be able to make all the decisions. And he's going to oversee just all the basketball operations over there with the Wizards. I got a lot of people that have been asking me, it's a conversation I have on the radio show as well about the Clippers. Hey, do they break this thing up? Do they, is it just clear as day that the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard just didn't work? It's a catastrophe. You never got to the NBA Finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a made first team All-NBA this year, and he was part of that trade. All the draft picks that they gave away. I'll be very brief in this one. I don't think they break it up. I don't know what the better option is. You are going to hope, if you're the Clippers, that you've had so much bad luck over these last couple of years because of injuries that you can get 1 year where everybody's healthy. Maybe it never happens, but I think for me, that conversation that's out there about, hey, let's, you got to break this up and do what? It's not, I don't really see what their other options are. Um, I wouldn't if I'm the Clippers, and I don't think they will. And I still think they're going to be a threat and a good team, but I've said that every year and I've been wrong, and who knows, I'll probably be wrong again. Laker fans, NBA fans, appreciate you guys taking some time to watch the show today. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed to the channel. If you're already subscribed to the channel, then never mind. All right, have a great weekend, Laker fans. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. When I come back, I'm not sure. Anytime I find something I think interesting that we could talk about, I want to throw it up as a topic, I'll make sure to do so. All right, Laker fans.